Thank you for joining us today. My name is Gail Watson, President and CEO of Women Speakers Association, the go-to place for innovative leaders, change agents, and women with a message to connect, to collaborate, and grow their visibility worldwide in order to fulfill her mission. As part of this mission, we are excited to introduce you to Voices of the 21st Century, a book featuring a collection of female voices rising up to educate, guide, and inspire you. And here with us today is our featured author, DeeDee Vicino. Welcome to the show, DeeDee.
Thank you, Gail. It's such an honor to be here with you today. I really appreciate you having me.
We're excited to have you too. And you know, I love your story. We talk about the subtitle of Voices of the 21st Century, a bold, brave, and brilliant woman who shares her powerful story, and you do. You have a story that relates to many people. And so what I'd love to do is dive right in and talk about, first of all, what inspired you to share your story in Voices of the 21st Century?
I think what inspired me to share this story was just talking to people, just everyday women. And I had struggles with my youngest daughter in her teenage years. And as I talked to more and more women, it becomes very evident that I wasn't the only one who was raising a child with struggles. Actually, one of my closest friends that I'd lost contact with, she was having very similar struggles with her daughter while I was having similar struggles with my daughter. And I didn't know and she didn't know. So we weren't reaching out to each other and lost out on a great support system there. And I think the more we talk and the more we come out of our shell and out of our little scary closet, because we want everybody to think we have this perfect little life, that we can come together and support each other and help each other through the very difficult times. So the reason I wanted to share this story was to let women know you are not alone. There are so many of us out there going through so many similar struggles, and we can, as you said, rise up. And we can overcome. And I think that's really important, especially when you feel so stuck in the mire of it all.
Now, just a little bit more about your story, because just share a little bit more specifically about what you're talking about in the story that you share.
It starts out with my daughter and her struggles and how those struggles led me to transition and to kind of figure out where I fit in this puzzle of life. I uprooted myself, I uprooted my family and moved halfway across the country to get her out of trouble. And in that, I had to transform. I had to go through my own metamorphosis and change careers and industries and learn all kinds of new things and adapt to a whole new world. And just like the message, we need to come out with our stories. Life is full of transition and life is full of change. And regardless of our age, regardless of our maturity and experience in life, it's never too late to make those transitions, to make those changes and to start something new. It's never too late. Women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, I'm hearing it all over the place. As a matter of fact, the Wall Street Journal, I mentioned this to you earlier, I think they were stalking me because as soon as I submitted my chapter to you all, they came out with an essay, a story that's called It's Never Too Late to Start a New Brilliant Career. So that's my message as well. We've got to share, we've got to talk, we've got to get out of the closet, and we have to share our experiences with other women so that we can rise up.
And you started this new career as a result of, it was a mother's love first. I mean, the mama bear in you picked up your child and said, not now, not here, not today, we're changing, right?
Exactly right.
That's, and, sometimes we don't even think about that, as a parent, yes, if something's happening to our child, that we will literally do anything.
Yeah, you move the earth, you move mountains, you are Atlas. Atlas shrugged and shook everything up.
Right. So where we're at now with you is, okay, you did that. You went across the country, you made all these changes. So what are those changes like? How has that impacted your life today? What's going on?
It has had such an incredible impact on my life today. I've learned so much in the past 4 years. It's only been 4 years. I moved to Colorado, took a couple of years off just to kind of breathe and get to know myself again and relax from all of the chaos that was our life before we moved. And then I re-entered the workforce in a whole new industry. My background is teaching and education. I was an English language arts teacher, and then I was an assistant principal of a K-8 school. So that's my wheelhouse. That's where I lived. And I came to Colorado. The job market here is very small, very low unemployment, and finding a job in that industry was next to impossible. It was really difficult. So I had to switch gears, and I had to learn new things. And I went into the corporate world and landed a job as the director of education and training for Allertrain, which is one of the largest food allergen training companies in the country. Awesome. If you guys need some allergen training in the food service industry, call them. They're fabulous. But it just wasn't a good fit for me. I was too used to working with people, and I was not used to being micromanaged. Everybody has different management styles, and my boss she just needs to have her hands on everything. And that didn't work for me. So I had to step away from that. But I loved the world. I loved education, obviously. I loved working with trainers. I loved learning about food allergens and protecting people. Both of my children had food allergies growing up. So it really spoke to me and resonated with me. So I went out on my own and leap of faith, started my own business. And part of that is writing a book and getting on stages publicly and speaking to the public at large about food allergies and allergens and creating safe space in the workplace, in the classroom, and hospitals for people with food allergies. So it's been a whole new journey, a complete shift. The education piece is still there, which is great, but everything else is really new. So I'm just kind of learning as I go.
I love your attitude. I mean, Nelson Mandela gives a quote that I always love. It says, "I never lose. I either win or I learn." And you are the epitome of a constant learner. I love it. I mean, being in that education world is fantastic. Okay, so now you have a book. You said a cookbook.
I do.
Transition. Let's check it out. I would love to. Do you have the cover there?
I do. So one of the things that I did, was listening to moms on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all over the place, and their struggle, especially when they're newly diagnosed, to find food that their children would actually like. So we did some experimenting and playing, and we compiled the top 19 for 2019. So these are 19 family-friendly, kid-tested, parent-approved meals that you can make that are safe and free of the top 8 allergens. And it includes links, and it includes suggested products. I don't get paid by any of these people, any of these products. They're just there for your convenience. And it's a fun cookbook, and people really seem to like it. And it's big print. So if you're like me and have old eyes, you can still see.
Exactly. Thanks, DeeDee. All right, I mean, when I take a step back and let's do the 40,000 view on you, just uprooting your life and changing and morphing, and now starting that next chapter of your life. I mean, you do it with all this big smile on your face, and you make it seem really, really easy. So I know there's listeners right now going, you know what, I'm maybe needing to create a change, or I'm in the midst of change, and maybe it doesn't feel that easy. Do you have any words of wisdom that you would like to leave with our listeners, to those who are in transition?
I do, because I have been stuck in that mire, and I have been on the couch, and it's been hard to get off of the couch. So when you're in that transition and you're feeling frustrated, I certainly understand it. And what helped me, and I think what helps so many, is having it may sound cliche, but it's the I can attitude. Stop focusing on what you can't do. Because if you can't do it, you can't do it. Why are you even thinking about it? Think about what you can do. What can I do? What road can I take? What avenues are open to me? And pursue those. And every single study shows that when you think positively, when you look at the glass half full, when you think about the things you can do and you get away from the crap that you can't do, you feel better, you're happier, and then you are more motivated to move forward. So you have to have a yes, I can attitude. You absolutely have to moving forward.
I love that. Yes, I can. All right, DeeDee, we need to know, because I know I want to do this. How do we get a copy of your book? And, you know, also remember DeeDee's story. She goes more in depth about her story in Voices of the 21st Century. And I'm sure she would love to send you a signed, autographed, or even a personal message in there. So how can we order either Voices of the 21st Century from you or that fabulous cookbook?
The Voices Cookbook is super easy. The Voices Cookbook is not a cookbook. The Voices book is really easy. It's just my name. It's DeeDee, D-E-E, Vicino, V-I-C-I-N-O, at DeeDeeVicino.com. So, oh no, it's just DeeDee at DeeDeeVicino.com. I'm learning. It's a new website for me. So you can find the book at DeeDeeVicino.com. The cookbook you can find at our business site, which is Aller, A-L-L-E-R, Cuisine, CUISINE.com. So AllerCuisine.com or DeeDeeVicino.com.
DeeDee. And you can see on the screen, it is the letter D, the letter E, the letter E. So DeeDee. I love that name. All right.
Thank you.
DeeDee, it's been a pleasure having you, and thank you for joining us today. And
thanks, Gail, for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
yeah, and I love your positivity. It's super infectious. So thank you very much for sharing it.
Well, thank you.
Okay, and to our listeners, I want to thank you for joining us today. Please come in again, join us again next week to hear from another amazing woman share her powerful story. So until then, thank you. Bye.